It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by Scottish presenter Kirsty Gallacher and Dr. Luke Powles. Kirsty, Luke, how are you both?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks for having
Very
us.
good. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, wonderful to talk to you.
It wasn't until I got this email, Kirsty, I realised that the Scottish part of the Scottish presenter was so important.
It was so funny when you said that. I was like, oh, yeah, I am actually. Not many say Scottish presenter, but you are actually, you're factually correct. So
Yes.
well done. I am Scottish.
And I have to say, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very, very much. The big 5-0, eh?
I
I
saw the
mean, there we
pictures.
are.
You look fabulous.
Oh, I love you for it. Thank you very much. Do you know it's been lovely, and I haven't stopped yet, as in celebrating. I think there's a few more celebrations to have, but it's a funny thing because it's like nothing's changed, but suddenly I'm 50. I've got to grow up, I guess.
Did you get, and so I'm 44, so I'm a couple of years behind you. Did you kind of get to a point where, obviously, it's rude to ask a woman how old she is, but then you get to a point where you start to be proud and you start to celebrate how old you are?
I actually think it's great. I think a lot of my friends are already 50 or slightly older. Some are, obviously slightly younger, but a lot have sort of warned, not warned me, but just said how brilliant it is. And I think it's such a bit cliched to say it. I think you very much, certainly I can only speak as a woman, you feel much more comfortable in your own being and your own skin, and you kind of, I don't know, I feel great. I feel better now than I did when I go back to like the last milestone 40. It was a kind of, I don't know, it was a bit like, oh, I didn't love it as much. So I'm really enjoying this one, and hopefully it's just going to get better. But age to me is like not really a big problem. It really isn't. I'm not bothered. It's just it literally is like, oh, I'm 50. That's a bit of a shock, as in the number,
Yeah.
but really nothing's changed. So I'm
I
going to embrace it.
I interviewed Moira Stewart a while ago, and I sort of said, am I allowed to say how old you are, Moira? She said,
Oh,
I want people to know how old I am. I'm
good.
80 years old, and I want people to know,
She's incredible, isn't she?
right?
I think that's it. I think there's only amazing people that you look up to, um, and people that I've always looked up to, whether it's like actresses, or I'm talking about the females here because of age, but being a woman at this age, I think lots of amazing women, or people that I inspire me. They're incredible, and they're older than me, and I'm like, this is okay. I'm all right with this. If I'm as good as you in whatever 5-10 years, I'm very happy. So yeah, no, I'm, and I think it's also really nice to celebrate it. So I did have a lovely little girly thing at the weekend. I went to Vienna with my partner Darren last week for a few days, and then I've got a few more things. Quite a few of my friends are 50. I think it's going to be a party type
Right,
year,
right.
Paul. Suffice to say, and that's great.
You think, Luke, as we get a little bit older, those pre-MOTs are a little bit more important, aren't they? I think if you look after yourself as you get older, getting older becomes slightly easier.
Definitely, Paul. Definitely. And certainly when we're, and I'm similar to you. I'm just north of 40, and it does become more important because of course, there's lots of things that can affect young people, but generally speaking, a lot of the disease burden, if you like, a lot of things that affect people are lifestyle related problems that tend to creep up on us as we sort of march into our sort of 40s, certainly mid 40s upwards. And there's lots of things that we can do to help really reduce not only or not only reduce an early death, or the risk of an early death, but also really improve the quality of our life as we get older. And that it's not just obviously a healthy heart's really important. Trying to avoid type 2 diabetes is really important, but a lot of these things are linked, including things like arthritis. Mobility in older age is really, really important. Keeping our mental well-being and our mental sharpness is really important too. And I say a lot of these things are linked, and things like blood pressure, cholesterol, knowing what our sugar levels are, our weight, and our heart health, our diabetes, future diabetes risk, etc. These are all really helpful markers, keeping us well and keeping us engaged with good, positive lifestyle changes, and helping to pick things up early before they do damage to the body.
No, I don't know about you, Kirsty, but we do a lot of interviews. I've done lots of interviews recently about menopause. I've done interviews
Yeah.
about prostate cancer and various other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And so like you say, so I am at that age now, and I found myself thinking, well, if I'm going to be doing all of these interviews, talking about all of these bits and pieces, it would be very hypocritical of me to not go and have myself checked out and have myself looked at and all of these other bits and pieces. Because I don't want to preach to all of our listeners and all of the people watching and everything else like that, and then not do it myself.
That's brilliant that you did that. That's incredible. I don't mean it in a patronizing way, because a lot of people wouldn't have done that. And I think that's the whole point of what we're doing and the campaign that we're working on, Luke and I, with Bupa Health Clinics. You know, a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have a clue what's going on with their own health, and they're not across it. And, you know, there are sort of 5 basic things that everybody should know about that. Actually, when you look at the stats, which I won't go into right now, and Luke can tell you more about that, we just don't know what we're dealing with within our own bodies. Things like blood pressure, cholesterol, what are your levels? You know, are you at risk of heart disease, diabetes? What's your weight? A lot of people don't know their own weight. And the thing is that we have to be now front it up, and we have to know where we're at, especially as we get older. And you talk about age and hitting 40, 50, things start to change. And we all know people, sadly, who are going through awful things, or family members or parents or siblings. And we've got to go and be brave and not procrastinate. And I think really, well, you know, a few years ago, and I've talked about it quite a bit, I lost the hearing in my right ear. I have a type of brain tumor called an acoustic neuroma. It is benign. I'm very grateful that it's manageable, but it could have been a very different story. And I talk about it for the reasons of, and hopefully I've helped quite a few people. If you just go deaf one morning or blind one morning or something drastic, there is a problem. You've got to go and get it checked out. Please don't leave it. And it's a bit like this campaign that we're doing. You know, go and get yourself checked out. Just know what's going on. And it isn't just for now, it's for 5, 10 years time. I'm at risk of diabetes, heart disease. Because guess what? You can change something. You can change your lifestyle. You might find out, you know, your cholesterol levels and your triglycerides and all the various things I fabulously learned about last week when I was assessed with Dr. Luke. I learned so much. You know, I could go, and I was very lucky. It was great. And I do have a very healthy life. But, you know, if it wasn't like that, I would be making changes. So I'm protected so that in 5, 10 years, I'm not at risk of those diseases. So I think it's really about the preventative measures, not just what's going on now.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really important. But, you know, as I say about the tumour, that is being dealt with. I had radiotherapy at the end of last year. Hopefully that will work. The success rate's very good, but I'm lucky. It's a manageable thing. My hearing's gone. I've got tinnitus, but you know what? That's all right. It's manageable, and I think it's, you know, I think for really me, I just want people. If there's something niggling and you're worried, go and get checked out, and don't use Google, and don't rely on that and kind of look things up and scare the scaremongering that goes on. You need to go and get a professional opinion.
Like I say, Luke, I do have a yearly MOT, and I think it is so important to get ahead of yourself and find out. You know, it's the same with people talk about bills and things like that. Don't stick your head in the sand. Keep your head firmly up, looking forward, and find out what's coming, because it will be easier to deal with.
Absolutely, Paul. Because you know, not only can we, you know, detecting things early can help with, you know, treating those things more effectively, but also we can actually avoid whole conditions and what those conditions can lead on to. So we know, for instance, blood pressure and type 2 diabetes often exhibit no symptoms in the certainly in their early stages, but those conditions can lead on to some really serious consequences. And you know, people are aware of heart attack, strokes, but also blindness, also kidney failure, lots of things. We can potentially avoid all of that if we keep on top of our health, like with your great analogy there, and you know, try and, you know, avoid all that sort of headache and, potentially an early death, and or if not, those latter years of our life being years of hardship, if we, and if we can avoid that, or diagnose it early, we can treat it much more effectively before it really does damage to the body. And that's definitely what. So I'd certainly encourage people who, so certainly 40 upwards, maybe having a health check every 1 to 2 years, can be really helpful in incepting those things and avoiding more serious problems down the road.
Luke, if people want to find out a little bit more about these health checks, they want to find out a little bit more about Bupa, where's the best place to do that?
Bupa.com, Paul. Bupa.com. If they navigate there on your browser, on your phone or tablet or laptop or whatever, go to Bupa.com and you can find we've got not only information about products but also a lot of health content as well, which should hopefully help.
Kirsty, where can we expect to see you over the next few months, other than celebrating birthdays?
On the radio, like you. On Gold Radio.
Do you mean you're joining us here? Is that what you meant to say, right?
Listen, I'd love that, and maybe I can come and visit you. No, I do drive time on relaunched Gold Radio. I moved from Smooth Radio. I love the radio business. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes, love it.
I've never done it before. It's great.
Well, I don't want to kind of do myself out of any future jobs, but we love having radio presenters.
Well, you are brilliant, and I think it's great, and I really, really enjoy it. And obviously, playing music as well as a bit of chat's wonderful, isn't it? So, and we're really grateful. Thank you for having us on. It's a really important topic. So, and especially it's the start of a new year, and I think it's that time when people are kind of like going, right, okay, I need to get my ducks in a row. So, yeah, it's important. Thank you.
Well, look, Kirsty, Luke, thank you so much for talking to me today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.
Pleasure. Thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye now.